Wikipedia. And I thought CPA as this was another mistake.
Good afternoon, Alex. Good afternoon, Jetro.
Hello, sir.
Hello, hello. Let's just wait for a few more people to come in.
Go lang po, sir.
And guys, so while we're waiting for the rest, good afternoon again. And thank you for filling in the short survey we have here. So for the two who filled it in, thank you. And, and just chill muna while we wait for the rest. Thank you, guys. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Um, Thank you for quickly answering the survey we got there.
Hello, sorry. I can't find the survey. Where is it?
Uh,
Hello?
Lance,
Yeah.
I'm sharing my screen.
Oh,
I also pasted the link in chat.
okay. Sorry, I'll check it out.
So we'll start in about 5 minutes as I wait for a few more people to come in. Meanwhile, guys want to get food or drinks, go on ahead and let's just wait for a few more people to come in. All right, good afternoon, everyone. So while we try to get back into the flow of things as far as academics are concerned, please just type yes in chat. For those who've answered the survey, thank you for sharing uh, your status for today. And it's, well, for me, it's been somewhat crazy because we started with class and then suddenly we had 2 weeks where we really didn't have, or 1 week where we didn't have class. So, as I said in the first meeting, for those who remember and for those who weren't in the first meeting, yan, I'm Ronald Ramos, so we'll be with you guys for the rest of this term. I hope you all will be here too. Um, I teach part-time in iAcademy, so this is not my day job. My day job is with Smart, where I am a capability development senior specialist, which means, to simplify things, it means a lot of things, but basically I oversee the technical curriculum for Smart, and I also do mobile apps development on the side. And then on the side, I teach in college. So that's why I'm here in front of you guys. So for those who are just attending now, welcome. Welcome to class. For those who are coming back, welcome back. And then technically, we are all coming back from a forced break. And hopefully, most of you got some rest from that break. Um, So I'm looking at the results of that quick survey. If you haven't done it yet, you can just go to menti.com and use the code 80211366. Or if you don't feel like typing, paste it again in chat. So we have about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people, including me. That would be 14. Um, Good enough attendance. I think that is the right amount of students that we take a quick look. ISEM says there should be about 15 students, but it's fine. Okay, so since not all of you were here during the first meeting, our class is Wednesdays from 2:30 to 6, but the synchronous sessions will normally be around 2:30 to 4 o'clock. Okay, so just to be clear, for those planning their schedules for Wednesdays, as much as possible, I will try to keep our class start time, our synchronous class, sorry, from 2:30 to 4. So I say I try because, again, I have my work with Smart and sometimes office meetings and the like get in the way. So despite me wanting to keep class at a particular time, sometimes it doesn't happen. But I promise you all, as much as possible, we will be having class from 2:30 to 4 every Wednesday. Bakit? So that you guys can go ahead with the rest of your day. If you want to finish assignments or anything offline that I give, then you can do it after class or not. You can do it at your own convenience as long as it's within the deadlines that are set. Other than that, unless required or unless I really need to, I'm fine with you guys not turning on your videos. So I'll turn on mine so you can see me. And the point about that is, am I comfortable doing that? Well, I'm a teacher, so I should be, but it doesn't follow. But I know it's hard enough to do online classes if you're just staring at a monitor. I know that's how I feel. But I also know that because of connection, consistency, you might not want to do it or it's not the most ideal thing. And that's why I don't require you students to turn on your videos unless it's recitation or you're presenting something, in which case you really have to turn on your videos. So just a word of, well, hindi warning, but just if your webcam is not working, that's fine for now. Okay, but once we have presentations and group works, I will need you to find a way to get around your webcam problem. So um, it might still be difficult, but you can use your smartphone as a webcam, or you can log in twice, um, your computer and your smartphone. I've done it myself multiple times, because when you're presenting, it's hard, especially if you don't have dual monitors. It's hard to keep track of what's happening to the audience plus the presentation itself. Uh, One thing that work from home helps me with is doing online classes. I'm in front of my desktop right now, and I have two monitors in front of me. So my presentation is right in front of me, and the Google Meeting screen is on my right side. So if you see me glancing to my right, um, I'm looking at you guys at the Google Meet screen. So for those who filled in how they feel today, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And we have a majority of people feeling so that's fine too. With the way things are going right now, I do not what's the term? I fully understand why, actually. Um, and ako personally, given the choice, I actually feel like I just want to lie in bed and do nothing. But I have work. I've been awake since 7 to do some stuff. That's of course the class here right now, and then after our class, I'll go back to some of the stuff my boss at Smart asked me to do. So I fully understand that whole so thing. And right now in Makati, I think it started raining again. So it's been gloomy the whole day. So moving on from that, again, thank you guys. And then for those who said yes in chat, ayan pala, I request everyone to just do the stuff in chat, because again, I won't require you guys to turn on your videos. But that leaves me with just one major channel to see if you guys are still here, and that's the chat. So um, with the online online mode of teaching, I know there are a lot of distractions, because I am the same way when I'm just a participant in an online meeting. I'll turn off my video so that whoever is presenting doesn't see my reactions and stuff like that. Or if my mind wanders, then I can do some other stuff. But please do pay attention, or at least put half of your mind in the class. And if I do request for some response in chat, as much as possible, try to respond to it, because again, it's the only connection I have left without you guys turning on your videos. All right, so can I get a yes for that? So thank you, everyone. And we'll get to the lecture proper for today. And so the other thing, especially for those who weren't here for that first session. So again, I'm Ronald Ramos. I've been teaching part-time in iAcademy since 2010, I think. And so, nung Buendia campus pa, I don't know if any one of you here, well, I think meron. If any one of you here uh, were able to step onto the Buendia campus, malamang hindi. I think there's a few here. Pero for most of you, I'd assume sa ano na kayo, sa Nexus na kayo. So, I usually teach mobile app development in iAcademy. Occasionally, I teach web analytics. I think the last time I taught this was a year or 2 years ago, something like that. Okay, but the whole point of this subject is to make you guys aware of how to add certain items to that leads to a successful website. And not just, I'd like to believe it's not just for websites, but some of the techniques that go into web analytics can be applied elsewhere because we are dealing with analytics here and the analytics strategies are the same for any other application. So also as a review, because we had that break, and so that people are just attending for the first time can also have a better view of things. We look at web analytics again, or at least the basic concepts. Okay, so a couple of other things. One, I haven't activated your assignments and works yet. I plan to do that within the week. But I do advise everyone to occasionally check on Neo to see if new things have been posted. The other thing is we do have a class FB group. So if you haven't joined that yet, the link to the FB group can be found in Neo. I also sent it along with the message that I sent early this morning. Well, early as in 1 a.m. yata yun. 1 a.m. So if you haven't read that, well, you are here in class, so I can assume that some of you read that. And in that message, I also sent a link to the FB group. So just kindly join that, and I'll be posting announcements there too because I know not everyone's on Neo all the time. So it's best to have multiple channels of communication. And then the last thing I'll say is if we do start with the assignments, of course, everyone should try to pass on time uh, when there are deadlines. But with that being said, in case for whatever reason you will be late in submitting your requirements, one, please do inform me and also tell me why you're going to be late. And then two, I accept late submissions for the most part. The only time I won't accept late submission is when the deadline for grades submission come along. Because we do have deadlines for that and you can't ask me to wait just for you when other people have already completed what they need to complete for their grades. But for most of the term, if you find yourself unable to submit something on time, that's okay. Just tell me why. Uh, doesn't automatically mean I'll allow the reason or the reason is sufficient enough to merit no deductions. But I will still accept your work and it will still have grade. So it's better to have submitted something late than having a zero in the grade sheet. So before I move on, questions or clarifications about that? So we'll go with the, I assume no one has questions. We'll go ahead with the lecture. So in chat again, have you heard of the term SEO? So SEO, SEO. If you have, put yes in chat. If not, just type no in chat. So let's do that for the next 2 minutes. SEO. Thank you, Jethro, for spelling out what it means for those who may not be aware of it. So we know it means search engine optimization, but is anyone familiar with why it exists? So for those who responded, thank you. Especially to Jethro for spelling out the entire thing. Does anyone want to use their mic? Again, I don't require you guys to do it, pero if you guys have an idea what SEO does, I lost what I was going to say. If you have an idea of what SEO does, summarize it in a phrase, a sentence or two, and put it in chat. Thank you, Jethro, for being very active. Yeah. So I hope everyone, okay, I don't expect everyone to be very active. That's fine. But please do try to participate. Um, so Jethro says, and so, why am I blanking out? And so, see, Jethro said improve information about a website being displayed in search engines. Edmark said visibility of the website. And so those are close enough. SEO has been a big thing. Medyo bumaba na siya ngayon. But SEO for a while was the biggest thing when people were talking about web analytics. Kasi yung whole point was, if people are interested in what I'm doing, they'll search on a search engine and hopefully my site is on the top of the list. So yun yung full point ng SEO. That's why it's search engine optimization. So what Jethro and Edmark said was making your website visible in search engines. So why am I bringing this up? Because for the longest time, when people were talking about web analytics, they mix it up with SEO. A lot of them also thought that the SEO part was the be all and end all of web analytics. So the moment Google changed how websites were ranked on searches, um, the whole framework for SEO also changed. So now there's still a lot of third-party vendors out there doing SEO training, but personally, I believe it wasn't as big as it was a few years ago. What became more popular now was the more generalized view of things, which was uh, web marketing and then analytics. So when you're talking about analytics, a big part of it is always due to marketing a website. In this course that we're doing, for the rest of the term, we'll concentrate on the analytics part rather than on the marketing part. So for those wondering, uh, what will I learn here? Then that's basically it. You will learn about analytics. You will learn about analytics tools. We will definitely use Google Analytics. Along the way, I expect everyone to pick up the Google Analytics Basic Certification. And I will be posting that in Dropbox as partial coursework so that not only will you guys be learning something, but you'll have some proof of that aside from your grades. So I hope some of you get excited with that. Some of you might be thinking, "Aman, sir, ano ba yan?" So the certificate thing um, is something that I always recommend because it's a certificate that comes from Google. You can put it on your resume. So if you decide after graduation that I still want to remain in the information technology industry and I want to do something along the lines of analytics or stuff like that, your resume will have at least one certificate there that attests to what skills you have. So yun lang naman yung use note certificate na yun. And hopefully people get it by doing the assignments that I'll post later on. Hopefully within the week if nothing comes up. So moving on with this one. If we look at web analytics, we have to look at the analytics part first. So aside from this, in Smart, I also teach data storytelling, data visualization, um, Power BI, which is a data analytics tool from Microsoft, and then Advanced Excel. So part of me has always been in data science, even before the term was coined, analytics itself, before data science was a thing. A lot of projects, a lot of endeavors leaned on analytics to show proof that whatever they were doing well. Whatever projects they had going on was moving towards success rather than failure. So when we talk of analytics, we can say that it's basically the process of collecting data, analyzing that data to see any patterns or trends. Okay, so what's the biggest thing about that? Because sometimes people get confused. When we're talking about analytics, it's not just saying that I earned 5 million pesos or I was able to complete 20 tasks. So those are just raw numbers. Or if I put it in the context of elections, for example, when President Duterte won the elections in 2016, then I forgot. He won with 30 million votes. No, it was lower than that. I think it was 19 million. It was a number. Okay. I apologize. The number slips my mind right now. So the anti-Duterte, and just to make it clear, guys, I'm not pro Duterte. I'm not pro any politician. I wash my hands off politics. It's a stressful thing, so I don't deal with that. But if you do support any of the candidates, that's fine. That is your democratic right. Okay, so when Duterte won the presidency in 2016, some of the anti-Duterte people were doing like, he did not win the majority. So when I talk to my friends about that, I always ask them, how many total people voted? How many people voted for Duterte? Because the elections is simple. The president, the the presidential slot is won by the person with the most votes for president. So it doesn't automatically mean that whoever got the most votes reflects the preference of most Filipinos. So a couple of things about analytics. One, the voter turnout was definitely not that big. At that time, there were 50 million registered voters. I think only 34 million of that number came out to vote. So that's still a majority of 54, but that wasn't 100% turnout, which is the idea. And then two, if you look at the 54 million versus the entire population of the Philippines, then it would not be even half of our population. So the number of registered voters is not equal to half of our population. So that's what analytics does. You look at the numbers and then you add stories to those numbers because you want people to understand what the relevance of those numbers are. And that's why when I teach data science, that's where I tell people numbers don't lie, but the people telling the stories behind those numbers can actually make it lean towards their particular side. And that's where analytics comes in, and that's why analytics is very important because it helps you determine if the number you're looking at is relevant in terms of success or failure. Now, when we look at web analytics, we refer to the analytics process, applying it to data coming from websites. If anyone has questions or clarifications, please feel free to put it in chat. I will see it. So why are we using web analytics? One, we want insights to understand if our online presence is successful or not. And then what I always tell people is decisions that you make, even if it's not business decisions, are always better if it's backed by data. So that's where analytics comes in. Unless we're talking about love, and love doesn't really follow data. So a brief history of it. Web analytics began sometime in the early 90s. And as with a lot of things in America, they decided to form a web analytics association who did not set a standardized definition until 2006. So it started out simple. A lot of the early tools for web analytics were administrator tools, as we shall see later. And then as time progressed, it became more and more sophisticated. By the year 2000, we saw the first shift in modern web analytics when Google purchased a small company called Urchin, which later on became Google Analytics. Okay, so almost the same as Android. For those who do not know, Android wasn't a Google thing. They bought Android in 2008. So Android is one of those technologies that changed the world, wasn't an original Google product. Web analytics impacted the business world with a rapid effect. So there are a few key terms that we just have to go through in terms of its history. That's log-based data collection, hit counters, Alexa rank, and JavaScript tag-based analytics. Going from top to bottom, you actually get the basic historical, the basic chronology of tools as it evolved for web analytics. So first, we have log-based data collection. It says here it's the real-time analysis of records generated by servers or devices. It proved to be the backbone of early web analytics. But, as I mentioned earlier, this was mostly dependent on tools available to a server administrator. That's why the term itself is, or that the slide title itself is literally what the tool was. You get the data from the server logs and then use it to look at trends and patterns. So usually the server log has system errors, intrusion attempts, and security issues. But early in the game, people realized that it could also contain data that we could use for website metrics, like how many users were looking at a particular site, how many people were logged on to the server, and stuff like that. Another 90s thing was the hit counter. So you couldn't go online without seeing a hit counter. I'm not sure if you guys are still familiar with that as far as websites are concerned, or if people still actually use websites. Yeah, but just in case you're looking at your screen and you're going like, what the heck is Ronald talking about? That green thing is a hit counter. A lot of 90s and early 2000 websites have it. So when you get to the front page, it says visitor count, which should show you the unique number of visitors that have been to that website ever since it started showing up online. And so installed on a web page to count the number of unique visits. So early on in web analytics, this was a big metric for people, because you can say that, oh, I had 2 million people checking out my sites. But it said nothing else, which was why it also very quickly fell out of favor as a metric. Because you may have had two people look at your site, but it doesn't tell me if they stayed on and actually interacted with the site more. They could have typed the address, spent 5 seconds there, and decided, I'm gone. I don't want anything to do with this website. Um, Early on in the game too, a company called Alexa um, got formed, and their main point in life was to give rankings to websites. So the name might sound familiar, especially for those with smart appliances at home. Alexa is the smart assistant of Amazon. So a few years down the line, I think 2 years before Amazon launched their Alexa product, they already bought the Alexa website. So Alexa.com, which contains Alexa Rank, which provides you a comparative ranking of websites, was bought by Amazon about 2 years before they launched their Alexa smart assistant. So some people say that they weren't really interested in the website rankings. They just wanted to secure the Alexa.com name. And now, Alexa will be shut down in May 2022 as far as Amazon is concerned. So what does Alexa look like? If you guys want to, you can also type it in. You can go to alexa.com to see the same stuff I'll be showing you guys. Yeah, so sadly, they already have that end of service notice. I'll post this in chat. So you guys can try it out yourself. And so, if you're looking at my screen, you'll notice there's a search bar there for whatever site you might find interesting. So, for example, I want to check out Facebook. Uh, and I'll click on Find. And then you'll notice that it will give me a bunch of numbers. Keyword opportunities, similar sites by audience overlap, comparison metric, search traffic 12.1%, bounce rate 21%, top keywords by traffic, Facebook, YouTube, Facebook. So it provides you a bunch of statistics that people who are working in web analytics can use. So it's been around for the longest time, but it will be shut down in 2022. Although there are other tools that we shall see. And then the last one is the most modern one and something that we will see as we move through our lessons during the term, JavaScript tag-based analytics. So people started realizing that there was a need for better stat tracking and for other statistics to be obtained to make better web analytics so that they don't only rely on admin logs and stuff like that. So the biggest thing that they came onto was using JavaScript tags for getting their data. So a snippet of code is applied to each page that you want to get data from. And then when that page is visited, the JavaScript gets activated and sends the data to whoever is waiting for it. So that was a brief history and then some tools. The tools itself does not only apply to web analytics, but also um, to other things that are using analytics. So some of those sample tools include uh, identifying trends, um, help understand channel preferences, do user analysis, do client retention, heat maps, A/B split testing, and then computing for the ROI. So these tools, as I've said, are already part of data science and any analysis job. So identifying trends is one tool that is very important. You basically look at the numbers and see if there is a certain pattern to your users or to the data that you're looking at. Helping understand channel performance. So it's raining hard right now here in Makati. I apologize if I might break up occasionally. Hopefully not. So helping understand channel performance is also a tool that can be used for web analytics. It's used in other areas, not just web analytics. User analysis. Where are my users logging in from? Are they using a phone? Are they using a laptop? Are they using a computer? Are they on Windows? Are they on Mac? Client retention. Because of the numbers, I can probably do something so that my clients stay and say, this is a nice website. I want to continue using it. Heat maps are used in other places, mostly for uh, user interface design. They basically tell us which parts of a page uh, people spend the most time on. Oops. Apologies for that. A/B split testing literally means that you make people look at version A and version B and then see which one gets a better response. So when you hear A/B testing, it just literally means that I have version A and version B, and I'm trying to see which one uh, would my audience like better. Then ROI is your return on investment. So for any business, if I put money in, I want to know how much I'm going to earn from it. And that's your ROI. When you're starting a business, your ROI might be zero. Or when someone actually is looking at buying a franchise, for example, Jollibee or McDonald's, one of the things that you get during the orientation is this is your ROI, or how long will it take for you to earn back the money that you're spending. All right, questions so far, everyone? Clarifications? All right, thank you, Jetro, for the feedback. Um, there's a ton of web analytics software that's out in the market. For our course, you guys will be able to see Google Analytics. Not just because it's free, but you guys all have Google accounts already. So it's easy enough to activate it. And we'll go through that process later on. Not all tools will give you all of the stuff you need. So there is no one solution for it. And you end up, if you do this for a living, you'd end up using multiple tools. So most of these tools would be doing couple of different technologies to actually track some of the stuff you want them to track. Foremost of that would be JavaScript events. In relation to what I mentioned earlier about using your JavaScript tags. So when an event is triggered, the tags get activated and they send information. When Google first came out with Google Analytics, they have a tag manager, and the tag manager is responsible for setting up what things you were looking at. Another technology, I haven't used this one a lot. Tracking pixels. You insert a one by one pixel image into your web page. Since that's a resource, every time someone goes to the page, that one by one pixel image gets downloaded, and you can use it to track which pages are being viewed by your users. But for the most part, we'll be looking at JavaScript events. So in terms of use, we've already heard about heat maps, and then we'll look at it some more, starting with basic analytics. So this is the big picture view. You look at things like overall traffic, page views, and the amount of time a user stays on your site. These basic numbers let you know the day-to-day performance of your website. In terms of pros, they are essential for any business. Uh, they show in the most basic form if a website is getting traffic or not. Yung cons, they are vital to understanding your site and provide a broad overview. But you might want to dig deeper into the numbers, which case you need some other tool. A couple of options for basic analytics is Google Analytics and another tool called Open Web Analytics. So again, for our course, we'll be using Google Analytics. A heat map, actually I should show you guys what a heat map looks like. So this is my favorite picture of a heat map because all my data science presentation, overview presentations have this. But if you guys are looking at the screen I'm sharing, you'll notice it's a website. It's a website, and then there are areas of green, very red, and areas with no colors at all. So yan yung basic ng heat map. A heat map shows us the red part is where most people stay when they're looking at that page, while green, yellow are other places, but not as popular as the red spots are. No color means people do not go to those places, and like that. So how does this help us? If you're a web designer and you're looking at the heat map, that will tell you that if I want vital information to be seen, I'll put it in the red spot of the site. So at its most simplest, that's the application of the heat map. Why would we want it? Um, it gives us a visual confirmation of which parts of our site the important information should appear in. Um, but on the other hand, it does not show us the quality of your visiting audience. So it does say where most people go to, but it doesn't tell us how long they spend on it or if they're actually interacting with that area. For all we know, um, they moused over that part and then they forgot to move it for a long time. Some tools that let you generate heat maps, Hotjar, and Crazy Egg. And so you have also tools for audience identification analytics. Um, so this tells us things like where my audience is from, what type of operating system they're using, what type of device they're using, what their age is, and stuff like that. So before I used to write my blogs on Blogger, and before Blogger downgraded their analytics suite, it provided this really extensive set of data where I can actually see where in the world my audience was reading my blog from. We'll get to see some of that when we start using Google Analytics, and I'll ask you guys to actually create something that we can track, and so you can also see for yourself if the content that you're generating is also generating views. So it's always good to see your audience analytics so that you can target which content would make them be more interested. Um, some businesses find this detail too deep for their current needs, so a lot of times it's not high on the priority of people doing web analytics. There's a couple of tools available. One of the better ones is called WEB Forensics. But Google Analytics has some of that, as I'll show you guys later on in the term. You also have application analytics. This is the same as web analytics, but it's done for your mobile version. So if you have an app, aside from your website, you can ask Google Analytics to actually do this for you. And there are some examples like UX scam, which sounds like a scam, but it's not. So I use Google Analytics personally because I'm an Android developer and Google makes it easy to integrate application analytics by just adding a couple of lines of code. Then you also have social analytics. This one deals with the effect of social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those can be viewed, especially if you're putting links to your website and you want your social media interactions to generate visits to your site. Some tools used here include Sprout Social and the very popular Hootsuite for getting metrics from your social media platforms. So when we're dealing with sites, you also have to be familiar with the sources of traffic because not all sources of traffic are the same. So there's not just one way to land on a business website. That is a strange cut. Your visitors will have encountered your site in a lot of different ways, from doing a search on Google to actually just knowing the URL. Because some friend said, "Wait, dude, click mo tong link na to. Baka magustuhan mo yung site mo." Or some ad that you saw on social media and so on and so forth. So there's a bunch of different traffic sources, and when you're doing web analytics, you want to make sure that when you're saying, I have a strong presence, you know where the presence is coming from, so that you can either improve on that or improve on your weaker sources of traffic. So the main one is direct traffic. Traffic that hasn't seen any other channel or the referrer data has been stripped from the browser. So basically, yan yung basic na URL. When you do a share on FB, especially for those who've had a lot or use Facebook a lot, I want you guys to take notice of the actual link that's generated. So let me go to Facebook. And so if you guys are looking at the screen I'm sharing, this is my Facebook page. So if I share something, so let me look for and so if I go to Facebook videos and copy the link, and then I put it here. Oh, that doesn't give the reference. I cannot generate. I'll put this. I'll click on the article to make it easier. So if you check the URL, um, there's this FBCLID. Can you guys because you guys won't see the address bar of my browser. Um, see, okay, so I hope you guys can see this now. So this is the address. I clicked on a CNN article in Facebook, and this is my link. After that, there's a question mark, and then this full long thing. At the very end, it says FDCLID. So that's the referrer code. It's telling me that, or it's telling CNN, as far as their web analytics is concerned, that this was an article that the user found by clicking on a link in Facebook. So that's not direct traffic. And so direct traffic is when I type the URL without any referrer code. There's also organic traffic. This is where SEO becomes relevant again. Organic traffic is any traffic that gets to your site by clicking uh, on a link from a search engine. And so this does not apply to any link through a PPC or a paid click. Um, and simply is just it's simply just any traffic coming from a search engine where someone searched for your website. So there's also paid traffic. This is the PPC or pay-per-click advertising. If you look at your Google search, on top are the paid links. And then after that is the section with organic links. So make sure to differentiate between the two of them. In web analytics, it's very important to differentiate between organic and paid traffic. Yung paid kasi, you want to check it so that you know that if you paid someone for your results to pop up dun sa paid traffic na part, alam mong effective siya. The organic part is important because if you paid someone for SEO services and you end up on top of the organic list, then that means they're doing a good job. If you don't appear there, get your money back from the SEO company. There's also referral traffic. If I have a website and I put a link um, to your website from my website, that's referral traffic. So this source name covers a number of traffic drivers that many tools are able to differentiate. Subdomains could also be referral traffic. There's also email traffic because if you guys remember, I mentioned that web analytics is usually part of web marketing. And part of marketing is to send email to target audiences. And hopefully they click on the link in the email. And that's where email traffic comes from. Then, what has become really popular the past couple of years is social traffic. Any referrals coming from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the like is social traffic. And then there's display traffic. It's more advanced. And this is basically through banner ads or advertisements. So normally, especially for older analytics tools, they place this value under referral. So the past 2 years na lang differentiate yung referral from display traffic. And then yung last one natin for today, and I'd like to thank everyone again for being here despite the difficulties. Other campaigns yan. So anything from TV and stuff like that. The other campaigns yan is hard now to get through the analytic tools. Unless they were embedded in one form or another, but games or such. So, I know we all went through a lot of stuff. If you're still here, clap for yourself and tap yourself on the back. Questions, comments, or clarifications? And again, I really appreciate the people who are answering in chat. So like I said, guys, chat is my main channel now for interacting with you all while we're in our sync classes. Because again, I know the ideal is to have you guys open your video so I can see your faces while I'm conducting classes. And it doesn't feel like I'm talking to my monitor, which I am actually. I'm talking to my monitor with my webcam in front of me. Okay, but I know it's difficult to have a good connection. It's difficult enough that we're doing online classes. But thank you, especially for those who are very active in chat.
Sure, sir. But we still don't know when it's going to be face to face. So I'm still scared pa.
Lance,
Oh, sorry,
no
sir.
one knows when it's going to be face to face.
I'm still scared pa. But my sister will soon become part of face to face because she's going to be a frontliner.
Is your sister in medicine?
Yeah, she's in the medical course.
What year is she in now?
She actually graduated from college. She's in UST now.
Is she a nurse or is she a doctor?
She's a doctor, but her profession is a pediatrician, I think.
They haven't taken their exams, I think, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Have they? Would you know?
I don't know the medical course, sorry.
Yeah, because I almost went to medicine, so I'm somewhat familiar. The last thing the last info I had was none of the people who graduated from medicine were able to take their licensing exam yet. So they can't be technically used as frontliners yet. But it is scary.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah. But to Lance's concern, and I guess a lot of you, personally, I really don't think there won't be any face-to-face for this school year. The way things are going.
Oh yes, due to Omicron and Delta.
Yep.
There's a lot of surge of patients in hospitals are getting full already loaded up already.
Yep. So yun. So we do what we can with what we have right now because the choice is to just stop and not move forward. So, yep. So with that, any other comments? Thank you, Lance, for the input.
Sure, sir.
And if anyone else wants to add anything, otherwise, I will thank everyone for being patient and joining me here today. I'll see you all again next week. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe. Thank you once again, guys, and I'll see you all. May homework ba or wala? That's a good question. I'll try to post one this week, but depending on other stuff I'm doing, most likely, Jethro, the homework will be for next week na lang. All right? Okay, just make sure you guys check Neo every so often. Yun lang. Thanks and goodbye.